So, Kendall, let's get to some business.
Okay.
Okay. So you want to talk about systems.
Yeah, so
let's discuss that, because as soon as you say the word system, small business people, we start saying, "Oh boy."
Eyes glazing over. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, it should be exciting. I mean, it's a nice segue from last week. So we talked a little bit about vision, which is the core values, purpose, and mission of the business, why it's here. And then the systems are the habits and processes that you create to reach the goals. So this is the how. I heard a great quote from James Clear that you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. So
interesting.
Essentially, like, we need to have these processes in place in order to free up the mental bandwidth, in order to do the things to grow the business and make money.
What is making this concept easier for small business people is tech.
Oh, for sure.
Tech is allowing us to do some systematic automation that otherwise we would not even be thinking about.
Absolutely.
And so somebody that doesn't like the formality of all of these structures and that sort of stuff, it used to be paper that you would need, right? Now it can be some sort of a software program or something like that. So we're not trying to change the world for these small business people. We're simply trying to get them into this generation, right? I mean, it actually is an easier way to conduct business.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, software is definitely, pretty much any software system is a system and is going to automate some kind of task that will free up your mental energy. But there are simpler things. I mean, just like a habit, creating a habit. Something that's automated, that automatically happens without you having to spend so much attention on it. Because your attention, as a business owner, wearing so many hats, your attention is super valuable and finite. There's only a certain amount of you that you can spend.
And we all tend to spend our time on the things we like.
Right. Right. So that's the name of the game, is finding the things that you don't like and figuring out a way how to automate them. And
we joked about it, how you needed Julie, right? But but that's what I learned over the years. I've been saying this for years, and I tell this to Julie all the time. You have a job because it's something I don't want to do or something I can't do. Mm-hmm. So whenever she's upset because she's got to do something, I say, hey, listen, either you or me got to do it. So
it's going to be you.
That's right. Or she says, I really don't want to do, I'm sick and tired of seeing you, Joe, on those videos. Well, I can't do that, right? So nobody has a job unless they are doing something somebody doesn't want to do, mm-hmm. right? Or they have a service that they're providing that somebody can't do. Mm-hmm. And plugging those things in for a small business person early helps them focus on that positive habits that they want to continue to do.
Right.
And allow somebody else to do these things. So there's some choices here that you need to make early.
Yeah, definitely choices to earmark those things to outsource. And simple. I had a coach who told me that if you've done it more than once, you need a system for it. So something as simple as a checklist of like this. These are the steps that I took to achieve this goal, to achieve this task, so that I don't have to spend the mental energy figuring out that pathway again. It's stored in memory. It's stored on paper. It's stored on the computer, so that I can revisit, and it's a reliable solution to a recurring problem.
And I'll tell you something, for the small business people that are out there listening, if you don't create the checklist, if you don't do it, who will?
Oh, nobody. Yeah.
I mean, you have to define it in a way that clearly everybody understands this is what's important to me, right? And here's the order in which it's important to me, because you're helping everybody. We go back to vision, right? Mm-hmm. It's also a way to clearly define the vision coming from the top.
Right. Yeah. So these are the steps that we need to take in order to serve that goal, that greater goal, that mountain that we're trying to climb collectively. And it's up to the business owner to articulate those things clearly.
I saw on your list you got SOP, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, boy, if we're going to talk about this. And then I realized, I had a bunch of small sandwich shops inside office buildings, and I literally had a checklist of standard operating procedure for every single a person that opens up those restaurants, right?
Right.
And so I had it, right? For years, I would like shrug the concept of, you know what I mean, these standards, right? Because I wanted people to be creative. And the truth is, by creating this stuff, you allow them to be more creative.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better. Yeah. By defining, setting some boundaries about what you absolutely need, you can open up the space for people to be creative otherwise. Like, these things have to be met. Go ahead and go above and beyond in other arenas. But that way you can guarantee the product that you're delivering while giving your team space to create something better.
Right. You got task management software. What's that? Like a CRM system or something like that? What is that?
Task management. So I'm actually in the process of switching from GQs to Asana. Or Asana.
Should we know what any of that is? Because we don't really care.
So, well, I mean,
that sounds boring to me.
I suspect it is. So I have a small team of 5 other fabulous ladies, and
I remember back when it was just Kendall.
Well, yeah. Well, I think last year I had Abby Super. Abby Super, she was a contractor and she outgrew me. So, but I have 5 fabulous ladies, and but just making sure rather than having to harp on them and double check, I have a task management system that says reconcile bank accounts for this client. And they check it off and I see it on my end. So I know where everything is task-wise without having to actually communicate. So it automates that communication for us. And it's a recurring reminder.
Which allows us to manage virtually.
Right,
nowadays.
To come here and sit here with you, and to go out and network and bring on more clients. If I was constantly hovering over them, I wouldn't have that space in my day.
So now you got one here. It's outsource critical tasks. Do me a favor, because you see a lot of this, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, you think bookkeeping is one of them, right? Oh, yeah. But what are some of the others you see clients using? Because more and more as technology offers, I see them having third party do stuff that normally would be very much in-house stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, so task management, I mean, the software is there, but if you get big enough, you're going to need a human being to do that. So like a virtual assistant is another another place to outsource. Advertising, so social
virtual
media.
Julie?
Virtual Julie.
That's impossible. That's impossible. It's just not possible.
I mean, she's not even here right now,
you're
so
right.
she's kind of virtual.
She is.
Yeah.
You're right. She most of the time she could be in California. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah. But social media marketing, those kinds of things, setting up the content for your social media posts, those are great things to outsource. That's definitely not my area of specialty, so that's definitely something that's on my list to hire.
Okay, so now you've got 4 things that you say how to create a system. Number 1 is make a list of about 10 tasks in your business that you hate doing. I love that statement.
Because they're there.
Well, not only do you know they're there, but I guarantee anybody listening has not done that. Mm-hmm. Like, who wants to make that list?
Oh, no.
Right?
But it's in service of getting rid of them.
That's right.
You should be motivated. Yeah.
So I love that idea, right? Let's make the list of what we don't like, so now we can go find somebody. I love that. And then number 2, rank them from 1 to 10 and how much time it takes. Oh, I thought I was going to read how much you hate it, but
it's probably already 1 to 10 in that order.
Yeah. Oh, okay, but it's time related. Mm-hmm. You think that's the best way to do that?
Well, so there's going to two lists. So one for how long it takes you. One being the least amount of time, 10 being the most.
Right.
And then a second list. Same tasks, but a second rating system of how much it affects your customers from 1 to 10. And then the highest rate is, add those 2 numbers together, and the ones that are going to affect your customers the most and take up the most time are going to be the ones you need to prioritize outsourcing.
Let's read this again, because this really is some good stuff, right? Mm-hmm. This is, matter of fact, Julie, we need to make sure everybody gets this. This is good stuff right here. So number 1, okay, how to create a system. Let's
identify which systems to create.
Okay,
yeah.
How to identify what systems you need.
There you go.
Number 1, create a list of about 10 tasks that you hate doing.
Hate them. Yep.
Number 2, rank those from 1 to 10, how much time it takes you to do them.
Mm-hmm.
And number 3, rank them in the amount of time according to the greatest impact to the customer.
Right.
I love that. I really do. And you're saying add those 2 rows up, and it's going to kind of tell you, here's some areas that you should bring somebody in to help, whether it's outsourcing or that sort of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I love that. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
You could be a genius. Oh. You could possibly be a genius.
I mean, you said it.
Just say yeah.
Yeah.